This is the Baltimore Sports Pub. Here's Terry Ford, Brent Harris, and Alex Woodward.
The Showtime series Dexter is making a comeback in 2021 after being off the air for the past 7 years. And by the way, probably one of the worst endings for a series in TV history. So they do get a chance at redemption in honor of that comeback. We have our Friday 5 of the TV shows we would want to see make a comeback. Terry Ford, fire away.
All right, I'll do 5, and I'm going to go away from the other 5 that were my favorite TV shows. We did this like about a month ago because some of those have gone away, but I'm not going to go to those. All right, here we go. Number 5 for me, I loved In Living Color. In Living Color was hilarious. The Wayans brothers, Jim Carrey. I would laugh out loud, and I actually think I did pee myself 3 or 4 different times watching In Living Color. In Living Color was fantastic. I'd love to see that come back. Number 4, I just want the show to come back to do the last season right, because the last season was aggravating, was the show Lost. They lost me in the last year. That was the most ridiculous final season. And by the way, you think Dexter's ending was bad, and it was. Dexter's ending was Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg-like compared to the ending of Lost. That was the worst ending ever of a TV series, right up there with Seinfeld and how bad it was. All right, number 3 is a show that I don't know if you guys have heard of. It's a little show called Alias with Jennifer Garner. She was a college student who was a double agent with the CIA and with the Russians. Some guy named Bradley Cooper was on it. I don't know whatever happened to him. Michael Veritan. It was a really cool show. I would love to see. I love all those secret agent shows anyway. And that was a really good show. And I'd love to see that show come back. Number 2, you might not have heard of this one either, Freaks and Geeks. One season Freaks and Geeks was on, and Freaks and Geeks was bleeping hilarious. That was Judd Apatow's first, early Judd Apatow. Yeah. Freaks and Geeks was so funny. Weird James Franco was on it, the nurse from ER or
Seth
whatever.
Rogen.
Seth Rogen. I mean, Freaks and Geeks is hilarious. I'd love to see Freaks and Geeks come back. And number 1 for me is easy. It's The Sopranos. I know it's kind of tough because, well, the main guy's no longer with us, but I loved The Sopranos. And I thought the ending was great. They're just sitting in a restaurant eating, and you know what they're doing? You're going to leave, right? Because the series is over, but they're going to keep living their lives. They're going to keep doing all these things they've been doing. You're just not going to see it anymore. I thought The Sopranos was awesome, and I would love to see The Sopranos come back. I just know, how do we get our main guy back? How do we get Gandolfini back? That's kind of the tough thing.
What about yours, Brent? What do you got?
All right, so you look at the top 5, and to me, like Sopranos and The Wire and Breaking Bad all had great endings or lived unto itself, right? Like, you don't need to have that series come back. It's already a great series the way it was. So they're not going to be on my list. And even like a series like Breaking Bad, you have Better Call Saul. You've had the movie that's come out. So we've had some a prequel, and we've had some other things that at least can pique our interest. So my 5, I'm going to start with a little comedy, Workaholics. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was on Comedy Central. 3 buddies who kind of struggled with that transition from college into adulthood. But it reminded me of the movie Office Space. Very funny.
I love Office Space, guy.
Number 4, Party Down. Adam Scott, Jane Lynch. It was super funny. It was only around for like 2 years. There were a bunch of wannabe
really
actors. Yeah, they all go out to Hollywood, and they all end up working in catering. None of them getting acting jobs. But it is absolutely hilarious. Number 3, and this is really one of my all-time favorites growing up, Cheers. I think you could pick up Cheers right now in the same setting with the same actors, and it wouldn't skip a beat. It would be
who's the one, Diane?
Diane's got to be back, though, Brent. Diane's got to be back. You got to have Diane.
So annoying. Yep. We should do a top 5 most annoying TV characters, because she's definitely up there for me. Anyways, go on.
West Wing, number 2, best written show ever.
I forgot about West Wing, dude. That's fantastic. By the way, you know they're doing just a play of taking one of the episodes and they're doing it in a play form.
I would see that. I would see that.
It's on HBO Max. I am going to find a way to hack in to watch that. Man, that was a good one, dude.
That's a good
Excellent.
One. Can you imagine today's White House and all the stuff going on and the writing and the acting? That show would be awesome. And my number 1 is Mad Men. It went off the air like 5 years ago. It was a great series. And I think because, remember, it was set in the 60s, an ad agency and John Hamm. I think you could go into the 70s and 80s, right? I think you can continue that storyline with fresh, really, fun shows. I love that show. It was so true to what the 60s was like, and the ad agency, I think, is fascinating. But Mad Men would be my number one.
Hey, by the way, the ending of that was open enough to where you could come back and start it right back up again, by the way. With the Coca-Cola thing at the end was kind of funny. Go ahead, Alex.
So my number 5 is the Ali G Show. Only 3 seasons.
Another one.
We do.
Ali G.
I know you guys missed a couple really good ones. We do get more Borat, so I love that. That's coming out on Amazon Prime. It's another movie. But the Ali G Show, I need that kind of satire in my life in 2020. I mean, everything that's happening in the real world is set up perfectly for that kind of humor. So, yeah, the Ali G Show should come back. Number 4, Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy. It's one of my favorite shows that came on FX. That's not always Sunny in Philadelphia. I want to see a follow-up with Jax's son, Abel. You don't really know what's going on with him. He's riding off into the sunset with Nero, but you don't really know where he goes or what's going to happen. So maybe he becomes the next leader of the motorcycle gang. That would be interesting. They do have the Mayans now, which is more about the other gang. Who cares about them? I want to know about the Sons. Number 3, it's the Newsroom. Another thing is I just want to see this in this era. Fake news. Fake news. Fake news. That's all we ever hear about.
3 for 3, dude.
Jeff Daniels was amazing.
Great. Yes.
He's so good, and he was just so good at pulling off that, like, smug, but, like, I have the right to be smug because I know I'm smarter than you and I know how to handle this conversation. I just loved how that character that Jeff Daniels played. Number 2.
Aaron Sorkin's writing is fantastic. Real quick about that show, if anyone's never seen Newsroom, just Google Eyes or YouTube his speech in the beginning of the show when he's on stage and they ask about what makes America great. It's one of the greatest riffs ever. Fantastic. Man, you suck. You're 3 for 3. Go. Sorry.
All right, let's see if I can go 5 for 5. Number 2, it's Community. One of my favorite comedies. It got really weird as the seasons went on, and I guess NBC didn't like that because they canceled it after the 5th season. And so everybody they have a huge cult following online.
They do.
And the mantra was 6 seasons in a movie, 6 seasons in a movie. Well, the 6th season got picked up by Yahoo, and they released it, but no word on a movie yet. It's been like 5 years since that last season came out. Everyone just got too famous. They're all doing different things. Donald Glover became Childish Gambino, and now he's doing Atlanta, and he's just all over the place. Allison Brie's going into movies. The girl that played Britta has a Netflix special. So they're just doing too much, but I would love to see a movie with Community. Because another season, that's fine, but I think a movie would just be a nice little bow on top of it. And number 1, I can't believe this didn't make any of your lists. It's Chappelle Show.
You were 4 out of 5, bro. Chappelle Show's fabulous.
It's the greatest show to go off the air before its time. And it was amazing how it went off the air because it was basically like, hey, screw you guys. I don't need this. I made my millions. I made my impact. I'm going to go to Africa and lift weights and help those communities, and I'll do whatever the hell I want, smoke weed, whatever he did.
He is
I have no idea.
funny.
Think about the impact that show had on. Before we had memes, people would just yell Chappelle Show quotes at each other. I'm Rick James, bitch. Like, what? We're at 7-Eleven. What the hell are you talking about? I'm Rick James. Key and Peele, My Demencia, Kroll Show, all Comedy Central shows all had huge influences from Chappelle Show. I mean, they're basically just hybrids twisted into their own way of doing it.
Your list is best. You got 4 out of 5. Community, but your other the Chappelle Show and Ali G. Oh my God, excellent.
Could you put them together? Could we do Ali G and Chappelle on the same show?
God,
no, that's too many laughs.
That's too much.
I'll like.
I might go to the hospital.
I'll rip an oblique muscle.
Yeah.
I don't have a muscle, but I'll rip it.
I think I'd end up in the hospital. Oh my God, yeah. Oh Jesus.